Hey everybody. So interesting day today, May 11th. It's supposed to be the day we were released from quarantine, and we were not. And nobody knows how long this is going to go on for. I'm in Peru, and here we've been on strict lockdown since March the 15th, and yeah, the cases keep rising, and we could be in for another month, another 2 months. We have no idea. But my point being is that this morning I woke up and I really felt this pressure on my body, just like needing air, and I was dreaming about traveling and these sorts of things, And I think that's the most important point is no matter how many tools we have, how much work we do, these waves of energy are going to come. That never changes. And the way I look at it, it's like with the more work that we do, it's like we're still going to have spirals downwards. This is just life. We're going to spiral down sometimes. But I almost imagine it's like there's a slope, and we go up, and we go down, and we go up, and we go down. But it's almost like the ups are a little up, or more up, and the downs aren't quite as down as they maybe once were years ago. We don't stay in the sadness as long. We figure out our tools and positive tools to get ourselves out of it, rather than choosing to do things that prolong it. So that's my desire here when I share these different videos, is just to help give everybody tools so that they don't have to stay in those lows as long, So anyway, today's video I want to share is to continue on about learning how to scan the energy centers so that you can take a more informed approach in terms of how you can work with yourself to move energy. Last video in the chakra number 1, we talked about how to scan to see if they're actually open. And this is important. If the energy's not flowing there at all, it's very obvious. Or maybe you're not sure exactly where it's not flowing, but once you nail it down, you can say, okay, yeah, this is at my heart. This is where I need to work. So the principle I want to share today in terms of scanning is really part 2 of this. Because if we were to approach something, and let's say, for example, I have a lot of energy in my heart already. And maybe this energy has been here for so long that I'm actually starting to have heart palpitations, heart murmur. There's just something that doesn't feel right here. Heat. And if I were to approach it by trying to put more energy in, and I see this a lot where people just think, oh, well, I'll just bring in more energy, and they're not really able to see, hey, actually, this is not what I need to do. I actually need to take some energy out because there's too much here. So this is really important, and I want to classify this as learning to find out if your chakras are depleted, if there's not enough energy there, or if they're congested, if there's too much energy there. This is what you need to decide when you're doing your analysis. Okay, well, where am I at? So once we've decided, it's good to know if they're open, as in the last video, or if they're over-energized, working too hard, or not working hard enough. So this is a bit of a different type of scan. So I'll explain it. So I'm going to turn sideways. And if you were to imagine my energy body, which is the body double, they call it, which is very, very similar to the shape of my physical body. So it would basically mirror how my physical body goes, depending on, again, how I'm feeling. It can be anywhere from 2 inches to 6 inches or beyond, depending on how much we practice and how much we serve and all these sorts of things. So let's say, for example, it's here. Now, if I were to scan my third eye center, if I was in balance, I would bring my hand in, and it would be about the level of my general energy body. So let's say if my general energy body was about 4 inches away from my skin, then if I were to scan in and I landed about 4 inches in, this would tell me that that chakra is balanced, that it's not depleted, there's not too much energy there, it's functioning as it should be. Now, if I were to scan and I come in, and I know that my normal is about 4 inches, but for this one I come in and, it's only about 2 inches. So it's almost like concave from my actual energy body. This would tell me that it's depleted. So vice versa, if I'm coming in to scan and it's puffed way out, like say 6 inches away from my body, this would tell me that there's too much energy there. So this is really important. Okay, so let's find an easier way to scan this. Okay, so it's a little bit complicated, but I think you'll get it once you get the hang of it. If I were to take one of my hands, and let's say I'll call this like the plane of normal. So it's at a 90-degree angle, we'll say, to my hand, yeah? So let's keep that book here just for visual. And let's say this is normal. So if my chakra was healthy and I were to say, as we do with scanning, my agya now, and I would come down to scan, and it comes down to about the level of the book. Okay, this is my normal plane. This is my normal. So I would just say, like, wherever my hand is, I'm gonna set that as my baseline. So I come in and say my agya now, and if I were to come out and my hand kind of bounces back above the line of my hand, I know there's too much energy there, congested. If I go down and it goes below and then I start to feel a bit of a pushback, that's depleted. Simple. So this is going to be really helpful once I start to go through the different energy centers and how to approach them. It's really good to know, okay, yeah, this is the practice I need to do because there's not enough energy there. You know, like for example, in the sacral chakra, if there's not enough energy there, you're not going to feel very sexual. You're not going to feel very creative. You're not going to feel much of anything, actually. So this is important to know. If you've got too much there, imagine putting more in, what that would mean. But we'll get to that more in the videos. So last thing I want to share, I had mentioned before to not do this measurement on anyone else. And it's kind of sat with me that I'm sure someone's going to go out and do a measurement on somebody else. There's a really important principle that when you're doing any kind of energy scanning on, well, two actually, on anyone else. The first, I think I've mentioned this before, is that the information is sacred. The information is not to be shared with other people. It's very easy to fall into a judgment of somebody else and say, oh, wow, well, their crown is closed and they're pretending to be a spiritual guru, like, you know, that sort of thing. This information is for you. And yeah, it's important to scan if there's someone that I'm going to for teachings, or there's someone that I'm going to for spiritual advice. There's someone I'm voting for, you know, and I go to scan and there's no crown. What's happening there? Now, of course, life happens and things can come up, and sometimes my crown can close because I've hit an energy that something's happened to me, or some things like this, you know. It's like life happens, but generally you can say their energy normal, you know, and you get a sense of it, right? Okay, yeah, there's something there. Yeah, okay, that person I want to vote for to do the job for me, for my community, yeah, I feel that they're divinely guided. There's something happening there. But again, that is for you only, not to be shared with other people. That's a judgment. Second, whenever you energetically scan somebody else, you're energetically connected to them. And if you don't forget to disconnect from them, then there remains an energy link between the two of you. So it's always important to make sure that you disconnect. So I imagine that I have two scissors. I've taught this before in separating energy cords. I imagine all my chakras down the front and I cut my scissors. I imagine the back side and I cut. And then I do the spleen front and back, which is on the left side, just under the ribs. Yes, I feel like there's one more point that I do want to share about this. In terms of scanning other people, it's really nice to have their permission, first and foremost. Now, the example I gave of somebody you're going to vote for, you can't really ask their permission. So if you do something and scan somebody else, again, please, 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 please keep that to yourself. There could be a negative karma attached to just sharing, you know, information about other people that's, you know, not really meant to be shared. So please hold this information with the deepest sanctity. Yeah, I think that's really important. So please let me know if you have any questions in the comments. And again, I'm going to start doing the videos of the different energy centers. So it's really good before I do that to go through, if you haven't done the learning how to turn your hands on, go through that, number 1 and 2, and then the 2 chakra videos that I've done, and give yourself a diagnosis. Okay, so where do I need to work? Yeah, okay, my heart needs to be worked on because I noticed that there's too much energy there, or it's depleted. So again, just the distinction one more time. I'm scanning the width, and then I'm scanning the distance away from my body. So video 1 was the width, video 2 on the chakras was the distance away. Okay, thank you so much. If you like what you're seeing, please click subscribe for the videos and click like. I would really appreciate that. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful day and happy energy diagnosing.